Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're shifting focus a bit, moving from physical strength to something just as critical, maybe even more so, your brain's amazing ability to grow and adapt. What if I told you the secret to a sharper mind, even as we get older, isn't just about stopping decline? What if it's actually about building new cognitive gains? Today we're really digging into the science that suggests your brain's potential it might actually increase with age if you approach it the right way. Our mission here is to build a really solid understanding of how your brain works, how memory changes over time, and most importantly, what practical steps you can actually take to keep sharp, maybe even enhance your cognition throughout your entire life. We're going to unpack three main ideas: neuroplasticity, that's the brain's flexibility, then the details of memory itself, and finally, the nuances of aging memory and how that all connects to overall health. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so to really get how we can keep our brains, vibrant and responsive, we have to start with this fundamental concept, neuroplasticity. A lot of us maybe think the brain is kind of fixed, right? Like it's hardwired early on. But the reality seems much more dynamic. Expert, what does neuroplasticity actually mean for us day to day?
Well, it means your brain is constantly, and I mean constantly, rewiring itself. It's rerouting pathways, strengthening connections, sometimes even pruning old ones to make way for new learning. Think of it maybe like a city map that's always being updated, new roads being built, better routes optimized. And crucially, this isn't just something that happens when we're kids. What's really exciting is that this plasticity, this ability to change, it doesn't just disappear as we age.
Right.
Every single time you challenge yourself, you really challenge yourself, like learning a new skill, pushing through a tough workout, even figuring out a stressful situation, you're actively forging new connections in your brain.
Okay, so it's not just an abstract idea then. These actions, like learning something new or even, you said, navigating stress, they cause real physical changes in our brain's wiring.
Absolutely, it's tangible. When you engage in these kinds of challenging activities, your brain literally grows. It ramps up the production of something called BDNF. That's brain-derived neurotrophic factor. You can kind of think of it like fertilizer for your brain
The
cells.
brain fertilizer, I like that.
Yeah, it helps new neurons sprout and connect. It strengthens existing
Wow.
pathways. So, yes, mastering new dance step, figuring out a complex problem at work. That change is neurological. It's physical. You're essentially training your brain, teaching it to adapt and become more robust under pressure.
And connecting this back to our daily lives, what's the main goal? How do we, consciously use this plasticity?
The goal is to intentionally use these pillars.
Mhm.
We often talk about movement, mindfulness, good nutrition, enough recovery to consistently reinforce these positive brain pathways, because those strengthened pathways, they become the bedrock for better decision-making, sharper memory, and just being more resilient when life throws curveballs at you. It's about actively building a better brain.
Mm. And this amazing brain flexibility, this neuroplasticity, it becomes even more vital when we start talking about memory, doesn't it? We often think of memory as just like remembering facts for a test, but it's so much deeper than that. It seems woven into almost everything we do.
That's exactly right. Memory isn't some dusty old filing cabinet in your head.
Mm.
It's really the engine driving who you are and how you navigate the world.
Mm.
It's how we plan, how we recognize people, how we find our way around, how we learn from mistakes, avoid danger, make choices based on past experience, our identity, our sense of self. It's fundamentally built on our memories and how we interpret them. You lose your memories. In a profound way, you kind of lose yourself.
So if memory isn't passive, if it's not just storage, then our daily habits, they're like the workout routine for that memory muscle. Can you walk us through those key lifestyle factors, the ones that really influence our cognitive ability?
Yeah, thinking of memory like a muscle is a great analogy. Use it and nourish it, stay strong. Neglect it, it weakens. And the six pillars of lifestyle medicine are absolutely central here. They directly impact cognitive health, and importantly, they work together. It's synergistic. So, for instance, what you eat affects brain chemistry, inflammation levels, how you sleep. That's not just rest. That's prime time for the brain to clear out waste products and consolidate memories, basically wiring in what you learned during the day.
Okay.
Then there's movement improves blood flow, boosts neurogenesis. That's the birth of new brain cells. How you manage stress is huge. Chronic stress floods the system with cortisol, which can be toxic to brain cells over time. The people you connect with, strong social ties, help with emotional regulation and memory recall. And finally, substance awareness, what you consume or choose not to consume, has a direct effect on neural health.
That really highlights how interconnected it all is. So, living cleanly, training consistently, having that supportive social network, it's not just about looking good or feeling physically fit. It's actually active maintenance for your memory, protecting your future self, maybe even safeguarding your identity. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. What happens to this powerful memory system as we age? This is where a lot of fear and maybe misconceptions come in. Stats are pretty sobering. Over 6 million older adults in the US living with Alzheimer's right now, and that number is expected to climb.
It is. And, before we even get to Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, there's often an intermediate stage. It's called mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. This is really important to understand. MCI is this kind of middle ground. You might notice more memory slips than usual, maybe trouble focusing, finding words, slower recall than what's typical for your age. It's not dementia yet, but it's a definite warning sign. It's your brain saying, hey, I need some attention here.
And this MCI stage, this is the crucial window for intervention, right?
Yeah.
I read a statistic somewhere. It was pretty stark.
Yeah, it's concerning. Research suggests that up to 80% of people diagnosed with MCI go on to develop full-blown dementia within about 6 years.
80%, wow.
It really underscores how critical early action is. The sooner you intervene, the more potential you have to, well, change the trajectory. You have more control.
So what does the science tell us about intervening? What actually works for aging memory based on the research?
The evidence consistently points back to those lifestyle factors we just discussed. They are powerful. Exercise, for example, is huge. It significantly improves executive function. We'll talk more about that. And it boosts that BDNF, the brain fertilizer. Sleep isn't passive. It's active memory consolidation. Eating cleanly reduces brain inflammation, provides the right nutrients. Social connection. It builds emotional resilience and actually aids memory recall. Managing stress protects your nervous system from burnout, which absolutely damages neural pathways over time.
And it's worth pointing out maybe the difference between types of interventions. Like people hear about brain games or
Yeah,
apps. How do they stack up against, say, movement-based training?
that's a great point. While, brain games and apps might offer some specific narrow benefits, they often don't provide the same deep transferable cognitive improvements as movement-based training. We're talking about activities where your body and mind have to work together in complex ways. Things like dual tasking, maybe walking while reciting something, or doing math problems in your head.
Okay.
Or resistance training, which has surprising cognitive benefits. Activities like yoga, dance, tai chi. These integrate physical movement with focus, coordination, and learning. They challenge the brain in a much more holistic way, and those benefits tend to translate better to real-world function.
So the takeaway isn't just stay active, it's challenge your brain through movement.
Exactly. And here's something really empowering. Age brings changes, yes, but decline isn't inevitable. What's fascinating, almost counterintuitive, is that some studies show older adults who consistently engage in really demanding cognitive and physical practices like learning a musical instrument seriously or becoming fluent in a new language can actually show more growth in certain brain areas, more plasticity than younger people who aren't challenging themselves as much.
That's incredible. So your actions can literally reshape your brain's trajectory even later in life.
Absolutely. It's a message of hope and agency.
Okay, this leads us perfectly into another crucial connection, one that maybe doesn't get talked about enough. The direct link between cognitive decline and other chronic health issues. It's like brain health is tangled up with overall body health.
It's completely tangled up. You can't really separate them. The research is very clear now. Conditions like cardiovascular disease, that includes heart disease, clogged arteries, even atrial fibrillation, they are strongly linked to cognitive problems. Same goes for type 2 diabetes and even prediabetes, that state of insulin resistance.
And the mechanism seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? These conditions mess with blood flow, basically.
Right. They can reduce the oxygen supply to the brain, cause tiny, often unnoticed strokes, increase inflammation, essentially damaging the brain's delicate infrastructure over time. This directly impacts things like attention, processing speed, decision-making. It really does hammer home that old saying, it's all connected.
What about something like obesity? Is the link as clear there?
The relationship between obesity and cognition, particularly in older adults, can be a bit more complex with some varying study results. But the overarching principle holds true. Improving your metabolic health, managing things like blood pressure, blood sugar, inflammation, that directly benefits your brain function. Tackling insulin resistance, for example, seems particularly important for how effectively brain cells can use energy. So better overall health equals better brain health, period.
Okay, final piece of the puzzle for today, executive function. You mentioned it earlier. This sounds like the brain's command center, the
Yeah.
seat.
That's a good way to think about it. Executive function is really at the core of what most effective cognitive training aims to improve.
Mhm.
It's not just about raw intelligence or IQ. It's this set of higher-level mental skills that control and manage your other cognitive abilities. It includes things like making sound decisions, planning for the future, inhibiting impulsive behavior, shifting flexibly between tasks, and solving complex problems.
So training executive function isn't just about getting smarter on a test. It's about upgrading how you actually navigate life, how you respond to challenges.
Precisely. It impacts your resilience, your adaptability, your ability to stay focused on goals, even your patience and emotional regulation day to day.
What are some of the specific skills that fall under this umbrella, the ones that get better with training?
Well, there are several key ones. Things like sustained attention, being able to focus for longer periods despite distractions. Selective attention, zeroing in on what's important and filtering out noise. Also, task switching, moving smoothly between different mental tasks. Working memory, holding information in your mind briefly and manipulating it, like doing mental math or following complex instructions. And critically, things like inhibitory control, resisting impulses, delaying gratification and planning and problem solving.
It sounds like the difference between just reacting to whatever life throws at you and actually being able to manage it effectively, kind of like mastering your own mind.
That's a great way to put it. And the key question becomes, what does it actually take to train these sophisticated skills? It's definitely not passive. It requires more than just rest, although rest is crucial for recovery. It demands consistent, targeted stimulus. It needs movement. It needs genuine mental challenge things that push you just outside your comfort zone. And then, yes, adequate recovery. But underlying all of that is sustained discipline. It's an ongoing commitment.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. A real deep dive into brain function, memory, and the realities and possibilities of aging cognition. We've explored neuroplasticity, that incredible lifelong adaptability of the brain. We've unpacked how memory really works and how central it is to who we are. And we've highlighted the undeniable role lifestyle plays in keeping our minds sharp. So I guess the main thing to leave you, the listener, with is this. You don't have to wait for a problem, for a diagnosis to start protecting your brain. You don't need a crisis to decide to get cognitively sharper. The best time to train your mind is right now, the same time you're training your body.
That's right. The science is encouraging. Your brain's potential for growth, for improvement, it doesn't just stop. It might even increase if you actively work on unlocking it through these practices we've discussed.
Next time, we're going to get even more specific. We'll look at how your physical activity, your actual reps in the gym, your runs, your walks, how that literally shapes things like your reaction time, your attention span, your memory recall, and your decision-making ability in everyday life.
Looking forward to it. It's all about those consistent cognitive gains.
Absolutely. So keep learning, keep pushing those boundaries mentally and physically. Thanks for joining us.